Welcome back to the Chef Triathlete Podcast, a recipe for mental, physical, and longevity-driven health. I'm Anthony, your Chef Triathlete, and today's episode is a special one because for the first time on the show, we're welcoming a guest. Throughout the last few episodes, we talked about recovery, mindsets, stress, and the foundation of long-term health. But today we're going to bring those concepts together through real-life experiences. This episode is all about challenges, the ones that test us physically, mentally, and emotionally, and how navigating those challenges is often what shapes our true longevity. My guest today has faced obstacles that require resilience, adaptability, and intentional choices, not just to push forward, but to grow stronger in the process. We'll talk about how challenges can either break us down or become the catalyst for lasting health, purpose, and perspective. Longevity isn't just about adding years to your life. It's about adding your years, especially when things get hard. So today we're diving into real conversations, real lessons, real takeaways around overcoming challenges and building a life rooted in strength, balance, and longevity. So today's special guest is a special friend of mine, Joe Johnson. We're going to have Joe Johnson jump on. He's going to give us a quick background of himself, and then we're going to get into some great conversations. Hey, Joe.
Hey, how are we doing?
Very good. Happy to have you on today. If you just want to kind of give yourself a little bit of an introduction and maybe just a brief bio of yourself, kind of, to jump us into the conversations we're going to get into today.
Okay. Well, I like the idea of longevity. So I'm 72 years old, and I've been competing in a lot of different events and stuff for a little over 40 years into ultra running and adventure racing and just competing. Haven't been able to give it up, but I kind of feel like at 72, I'm living pretty good. I did in 97, had a stroke and found out I had blood cancer. Of course, we all, think we're pretty immortal up to a certain point, but morality hit me in the face. And so at that point, I felt like I needed to really dig in and find out. I realized that going to MD Anderson, I realized that all they're doing is just giving you something to get through the thing. Nobody was going to try to cure you. And the original diagnosis, where you have 7 to 14 years, and then we've got to worry about this thing. But then, and that's a reality, a slap in the face. So I started looking real deep into what I could do to overcome it, and I changed my workout routine. I changed my eating habits, nothing drastic, but just control, looking at the supplements. And that led me farther down the path to being healthy, because I really didn't want to give up not doing what I like to do, which to the doctors was crazy. The idea of ultra running and doing some of the stuff I was doing at the time. I think I was doing tactical games at the time and things like that. And they're going, "Oh my God, you can't do this."
Right.
Lay around the house. So that's when that got me down into looking into peptides that I'd never learned about. I looked into stem cell work and, what kind of activities could I do that would promote longevity? All of a sudden, longevity became a big thing. Never even thought about it before. It really was a cool path because I learned a lot. I learned a lot about how to take care of yourself. And I do think a lot of it is not quitting, is to me, it's competing, is to get up and try every morning. And I'm sure you're familiar with it, but I just can't let the old man in at this point. So the more I learned, I ended up working. I still work a little bit with stem cell seminars, teaching people. We've talked a lot about peptides and what that's done. How I think that's just huge. I can't take any kind of testosterone or anything like that because of blood cancer. So I have to, I have to stay healthy. And so I also found out that there were a lot of people that were looking for a Hail Mary pass. There are a lot of people looking for an injection or something that would just solve all the problems, and they wouldn't really have to do anything. And so I spent a lot of time looking at lifestyle change. How do you teach people to live a healthier lifestyle? And that's more than just what they're eating. It's actually getting up and doing something. How do you get somebody to walk that extra mile, or create a community where people could talk to each other about, hey, we're doing this to be better versions of ourselves. So it's kind of, I don't know if that's so when I look at what I'm doing and where I've been and the path and everything, that is been the highlight of the last few years. And I'm really kind of quit my job and kind of dove into this thing full time. And it's cool. I'm meeting people, meeting people that really want to take care of themselves, really want to do something.
Mm-hmm.
And how do we encourage other people to get off the couch and go for a walk, and maybe walk another mile next week or whatever we're trying to do. So that's the path we're going down right now.
Yeah, exactly. I couldn't disagree with you more. And this is why I thought it was such a great time to have you on as a guest, because these are a lot of topics that we discuss and you and I have discussed. Is, it's being healthy is one thing. And, a lot of people don't seem to prioritize being healthy or know how to be healthy within their lives. And they wake up one morning when they're broken and they're trying to fix what's broken instead of, the mentality of having, take care of yourself now, utilize the science and technology that's out there so you can stay as healthy as long as you live. It's not about living forever. I think you would agree. It's more about staying strong and healthy as long as we're here. I mean, look, you're a great example. You're 72 years old and still competing, and you still have that drive and that mentality. And I think you're trying to be able to do whatever it takes to continue that as long as you can. Would that be right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I read just a while back that in 2023, they realized only 30% of the people over the age of 70 were actually living vitality, that they're actually out moving and doing things. And that just was a slap in the face, that once they hit 65, 66, they just quit, trying or whatever. I know that, it's a kind of a sad thing to me, but I think we're finding, and I think part of it is showing people a community where people are getting up and doing something. I mean, there's some outstanding people out there doing fantastic things, and people sometimes think that's unreachable. I can't do that. I was able to set a PR bench pressing and deadlifting on my 70th year, and it wasn't just the more that I got into it, and I realized a lot of people don't realize they can actually be stronger. And I'm not saying everybody become a bodybuilder,
Right?
But they really can get out and do some things. We've got you and I talked about peptides so much. There's things out there right now that can that's an opportunity to revitalize ourselves. It takes some discipline. It does take how many times have you heard, hey, we need to get you lifting weights, and they go, well, I just, and you know what, you're going to have to get up and go out there.
Right.
But when you put it all together, now you're alive. It's an hour a day. If I can just get somebody to spend an hour a day taking care of themselves, I can change their life. So anyway.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I think people tend to get that mentality that, as we age, you can't do the things that you did or, were able to do when you're younger. And, that's amazing, setting those PRs at 70 years old. But, it's having that mentality, I guess, that you can continue to do it, but you also have to put the work in. I think one of the challenges with society now is as much as you and I both are into the longevity space and studying peptides and seeing the benefits with that, I think the flip side in the education comes in is that I talk about this all the time, and you just touched on it, is that it's not the solve all, right? You still have to have the drive and put the work in. You still have to change your lifestyle. You still have to get into the gym and lift those heavy weights. And the technology and the science and the peptides is going to help enhance all of that. It's going to help improve those bodily functions to be able to do those things. And I think the stigma is some of the, I would say, maybe bad rap that peptides and things are getting, like that is, it's just another supplement out there, or it's just another trend. And then people are also using it as a clutch. I think the weight loss peptides is having a lot of negativity, being used the wrong way by some people in terms of just using it as a clutch and not actually doing anything to change their lifestyle, and then wondering why they're having issues when they stop utilizing these. And I think it's really important for us to get that education out there so they have a complete understanding of all of that.
Yeah, I think this is a big thing. Do the research. Mm-hmm. I need everybody to do the research. I had a friend a couple of months ago that she was going to her high school reunion, whatever it was. And she goes, I got to lose some weight. So I did 2.5 units of GLP-1. I hadn't been doing it, but I did 2.5 units the week before. So maybe that'll help. And I'm going, you don't get it. I mean, I'm sorry, but that was not a good idea. But yeah, I talk to people all the time who are, and I get it, are looking at Google or looking at Facebook, and they've seen something, and do the research, because it's not that, it's so easy to do the research nowadays and learn, what you're talking about. Make a, it's actually kind of cool if you'll sit really and dig in and see what's going on and look for the people who know, because it is a little bit of a counterculture to a certain extent. Mm-hmm. It is, some of it is stepping outside of our current medical system. And but you should know before you put anything into your body. But then, then maybe it helps understand. I mean, the things that happen are going to happen overnight. Mm-hmm. But I don't get sore. I'm 72 years old. Right. I did drop 2 dumbbells on my thighs the other day.
that might get you a little sore.
that slowed me down for a couple of days. But overall, I mean, on as far as going out and running and doing stuff, I mean, I don't, people always say, oh man, you must be sore. I said, no, not really. I don't know if it's 100% peptides or if it's just that I keep moving or if I'm just a lucky guy. But I think when you put it all together, it's, I think I can compete. I just was on Surviving Man, a TV show in September. And it's a Navy SEAL challenge. I wasn't a SEAL, but I used to adventure race with Don Mann, the guy that put the show on. And I was competing against 30 and 40-year-old athletes.
Right.
And I'm not as fast as they are. I will admit, and there were some things that they could do a little bit faster and quicker than I do, but I was out there, and I was able to do it. And everybody keeps saying, you're sore. Oh man, how you do this? You go, man, I've been doing this stuff for 40 years. It's just keep it going. It's just keep it going. Mm-hmm. If you quit, you're screwed.
Right.
But, I think that's the message that we got to get out there is do the research, learn what you're doing, talk to people who know what they're doing. I mean, I don't feel like I'm selling anything. We're just saying, hey, come along for the ride. Let's enjoy what we're doing. And, I'm just not ready to quit. So.
I love that. So, I want to switch gears a little bit and talk about training, because you're discussing the competitions that you're doing and how you're continuously able to train. And one of the things I spoke about last week is the stigma of the new year, new you, right? And a lot of people will have this resolution, whatever it may call, and they're going to get out there, and which is great. They kind of flip the switch, but the mistake that they make is they go to the extreme without thinking they're training through, and they might go to you see it all the time. They'll go to the gym for 1 month, maybe 2 months straight, and they either burn out or they get injured. And a lot of it is because they don't have a plan and they're not training properly. So with where you're at in your life and the longevity that you've had, how have you always approached training?
Well, I switched my training. I was doing endurance sports for so long. Mm-hmm. And I do think you have to keep it fresh. I will admit that I've switched sports a lot of times. I remember one time seeing tactical games on YouTube, and I go, what the? I didn't even shoot guns. I didn't even own a gun, and I'm going, oh man, I got to try that. I mean, that's now they're not only doing CrossFit, but they're stopping and doing something that requires them to think, and so next thing you know, I'm the oldest guy at the tactical games. But I think you got to keep it fresh. But I do think you have to have a plan. And I've been lucky and always, you got to reach out. You got to reach out to people who know what they're doing. Most people are very eager to work with you. So the coaches I've met around, in the last 40 years, but you got to reach out. You got to have a plan, and then you've got to go out and execute it. And don't expect everything to happen overnight. It's a slow build. I mean, I switched from endurance sports when I'm 68 years old to doing a lot more weightlifting because I realize as I age, I do think we have to get out there and lift. And so I found people who had a plan, and I set up a plan, and I stuck to it. 30, 45 minutes a day, an hour sometimes. But I can set up that kind of time. And whether you join the gym or you just get some equipment out in the garage, I ended up with a garage full of equipment, of course, because anything worth doing is worth overdoing. But you got to have a plan. You got to talk to somebody who knows what's going on. And I mean, you and I have had a lot of conversation about it. And I know so many people that, but the information is at your fingertips to find somebody to train with. But train. But you have to realize that nobody cares but you. All the other people in the gym, everybody else, they're not worried about you.
They're not paying attention to you.
You got to do this for yourself. You've got to take that 35 minutes, that hour a day for yourself, because some of us have people relying on us. We still, even at 72, I got people who rely on me. So right. There's nothing wrong with taking that hour a day and making sure you're the healthiest guy in the room. You get a training plan and stick to it. And yeah, you're going to have to move it around. You're going to have to adapt it to whatever you're doing. I just happen to like competing. I've always been able to set a training plan based on some kind of competition I was doing, just to give me, not that I win races, although when you're 70, all you got to do is cross the line. There's certainly a lot of races and get a medal. But get out there with people who are doing it. There's a lot of people out there who are competing who are just like you. That may be their first race. It may be their first tactical games, ultra running groups. All the different things. Everybody, there's some good people out there, and they'll put their arms around you and help you out. So, but yeah, you've got to have a training plan. But I think you have to have a goal. Yep. And to me, competition is a goal. I don't think weight loss to me was ever a goal. I don't think that's a good way to do it. I think the goal is, what can I do that I couldn't do last week, or last month, or last year? So I think we put I'll never have a six-pack ab at this age. But so to make that my goal is ridiculous, although I probably do it, once every 6 months. But, but I can see a competition, that maybe I just want to finish. Maybe I just like to be out there, whatever it is. But as long as I got a goal, I'm good.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's setting some type of attainable goal, whatever that goal looks like, and a realistic goal. Like you mentioned, we hear a lot about weight loss, but weight loss really shouldn't be the goal, because if the goal is different or geared towards feeling better and being healthier and really focus on the longevity, the weight loss is automatically going to come. It's just everything's going to fall in place. I truly believe that. But I also believe the investment, like you had mentioned, putting in that time of day is not just physical, but it's also mental. And that's one thing we haven't talked about today, is that how mentally this changes you as a person when you finally decide to focus more on yourself, more on your health, and more on longevity. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's huge. Of course, like I said, I had a slap in the face in 2017, and I always consider myself immortal, and then when you realize, hey, this really is about me. This really is about me living a couple more years, being more, to be here for my family and to move around. The mental part of it is any kind is, I guess it's conditioning. Maybe I've been lucky over the years because I conditioned myself to doing the sports and stuff and things like that. But again, sort of the competition. But I also think I enjoy being around people with that frame of mind.
Yep.
And that's probably when people ask me why I do some of the stuff I do, it's because I like the people, So I do think it helps to be part of a community of like-minded people. And if you surround yourself with people who aren't going to do it, aren't going to take care of themselves, it's easy to fall off the cliff.
Yeah.
And,
I agree.
But I think community, talking to somebody on a regular basis, I don't care, even if it's a group or whatever, just anything to have some kind of community out there so that you're able to get your head in that space and say, hey, but you got to pat yourself on the back. You got to be able to say, hey, I got up and did it this morning. I think there's a huge mental part of this thing.
Yeah. Yep. I agree. And in terms of community, finding that community, and I think when you start to change your mindset, a couple different things tend to happen, and it can become uncomfortable, right? The community that's surrounding you when you're in the, say, unhealthy space or unhealthy space, those might be, a lot of times you're surrounded by like-minded people. So you might be in a circle of unhealthiness, and there might be some things that are keeping you in that realm and you're not realizing at the time. And you start to make that mind shift. And if you really are disciplined towards your goals, some of those people might separate from you, and you have to be okay with that, because you're going to start to attract the community that we're talking about, much more positive community that will start to surround you and that have like mindsets, so you kind of will be embraced by them to push yourself harder and push yourself further along. But it can be uncomfortable separating yourself or being separated from some of the people in the past that maybe didn't have that.
Yeah, especially the more you get into it and you learn that you've developed some habits over the year that just aren't right. You're going to have to maybe cut out some of the alcohol, or there's some things you've got to change in your life to be better. And maybe that's why I enjoy the competitions, because at any level, because I'm around other people and I meet so many people who are just getting started. And I hope that I'm doing something to cheer them on and get them going, just a little bit farther or whatever, or feel good about themselves. But yeah, you're going to have to distance yourself, but you've got to realize, hey, I'm doing this. I'm doing this to take care of myself. Like I said, nobody else cares. Mm-hmm. And it's easy for somebody to give you some crap over it, to drag you down to, a little, or try to make you feel like an outcast for what you're doing. But, it's like playing any game. You got to have a good head.
For sure. For sure. Just to let everyone know, with all that being said, we mentioned in this community that we like supporting each other and helping each other out and kind of pushing each other toward our goals. And I talked about my entry into the Leadville 100 race. And Joe has graciously volunteered to be my crew lead for that, which is amazing with all the experience that he has. So I think this is a nice introduction to kind of talk about races. And then, Joe, for you to introduce the newest venture you have going on with the Next Loop series.
Okay, well, that's cool. Yeah, I'm actually looking forward to Leadville. I think in 2009, I was pretty much a professional pacer. And I've crewed two guys that cost Badwater. I've crewed, I just crewed a buddy at 100-miler in downtown Miami, which was a horrible experience, but all over the country. So I love crewing because I love supporting somebody and working to keep their head together, because 100, you're gonna go through some mind games in 100-miler at Leadville and everything. So
just keep me moving, Joe. Just keep me moving.
Just keep moving. I mean, that's it. And I've done a lot of races and had good crew, and I've had bad crew. So, we I kind of came up with the idea. Again, going back to my goal, I just accidentally stumbled across this idea with the next loop. And so what we're doing is put on a series of races that it's a loop series. It's a 3.1 mile loop. Some people call it a backyard ultra or whatever. I heard it called up. But the idea is that we do it for 10 hours. So every hour on the hour, everybody takes off for a 3.1 mile or a 5K. Most people get back in 35 to 45 minutes, and they'll have 10 or 15 minutes or so to refuel and regroup and get ready for the next loop. And the idea was to get people who haven't ever done, maybe it's somebody who's never run a 10K and they've run a 5K, is to get them out there and say, okay, look, it's the next loop. It's one more loop. Let's go out and do one more loop and get them to go out and do that second one, or maybe that third loop. If they've never done a half marathon, they can do enough loops that they're there. If they were able to do it for 10 hours, they've run their first 50K. Mm-hmm. They've run their first ultra. And we found out that a lot of people like it. I mean, we found out we've gotten good response. I know that some other people are doing it, and I think we're doing it at a pretty big scale. I think we got 13 events right now. But we're also going to, at the same time that's going on, we're going to run a 50 mile and a 40 mile and a 50 mile challenge. That's a constant run. So those people are going to be going continuously on their loops. And what I like about it is introducing people who are, first off, I'm introducing them to trails, which I think trails are the way to go. But secondly, we're putting some ultra runners in the same circle as these people who are just getting started. So I think that you'll see that they'll be introduced to people who are class athletes, who are not that different from them. And I like the community, the way it's growing and stuff. But we just I want to introduce people to one more loop. Let's go one more time. And I'm trying to figure out how we're going to keep everybody, if I know that you've done a 10K, but you've never done a 15K, mm-hmm. What do I do to support you to get you to get up and go that next loop?
Right.
So that's the thing we're after. And it's really, it's doing well. We're real excited about the way it's going. So, if I can just keep, I just got to get people just one more step, just one more loop, one more. I mean, you can't get killed out there. You can go out there. You're going to be back here in 35, 45 minutes. You can walk it in 50 minutes. Let's just go a little bit farther. And I'm real excited about it.
Yeah, no, it's very exciting. You're already in a few different states. And what type of loop are you looking for? Is it any loop, or are you trying to stay less technical to make it inviting, or just whatever's available?
Most of them are pretty flat, nothing too bad. Although I do think it is trail running.
Right.
So I do think there needs to be some with some elevation. I love it that they have to cross water, because it's nothing more fun than sees road runners stuck in front of a pond and trying to figure out how they're going to get across it. Looking for some, and just go through the water. Your feet will be dry in a few minutes. But it is a trail, so I like the idea that it can't be exactly 3.1 miles. It's probably going to be a little one way or the other. There's going to be some terrain. I'm trying to get out and visit every trail. We've done some videos on the different trails we've gone out and looked at as we've done them. But I think we'll get trying to do 3 or 4 in an area. So we've got kind of a region. We're also trying to do we're trying to do it 2 times a year in the same area every 6 months, and start a rotation so that people can come back and we can track their improvement, and stuff like that. But most, I think they're going to be easy to run. I want people to be able to easily finish the 5K, and I want to have a 12 or 13 hour limit on the 50 miles, mm-hmm. so that we get some people who are there who are fast, and these keep, and I mean, just think of the people you've been around at these different ultras and different races and doing stuff. They're good people. So if you can just introduce them to people, I think we can get some people excited about getting out on the trails. Yeah. Also, we're trying to support the parks. I mean, we're coming across some neat parks and people who are jumping out there and helping on this thing. So I think introducing people to the parks right now with all the stuff that's going on and all the bad stuff in the background is a good idea.
Yeah, I think that's pretty great. I know myself when I travel for work, whatever state I'm in, I try to look up to see what trails are around so I can kind of, explore a new park or a new trail myself. And I don't think we realize how much beautiful land there is within this country, and to be able to jump in a next loop race and kind of, experience that it's a pretty neat experience. So I'm pretty excited about it myself. I think between that and the community you're trying to build with Ever Further, if you want to touch on that a little bit, I think that's also something really exciting that you have going on.
Yeah. Well, I think the whole thing started with us wanting to build a community and wanting to connect people. And then the race fit in, and it's ended up being a good catalyst. So, I'm working. Matter of fact, I'm gathering information this weekend on some people I know around the country who do stuff that we can support their bios and what they're doing, and create a community where they exchange. We support them. We support other people doing similar type of races. Mm-hmm. We support people like yourself who are involved in trying to keep people healthy and trying to teach them stuff. I just think that it's a good time for it, and I feel good about it. And there's just, I just don't feel like sometimes people realize how easy the information is to get and to learn how to take care of themselves and be better and move around. And if I can help connect people, I'm learning a lot about social media and how to do this stuff. And it's kind of fun. You're 72, I can't just call them on the phone. But it's going well. And I think we're going to end up with a really good, we got some good athletes coming on board for bios, some adventurers and stuff that I've met. And it's going to be a good passing of information. So, whatever we can do to get people out there on the trails. And I think when you talk about the mental thing, the trails and being out the park, mm-hmm. That's a good, you just walk away feeling good. You need to get out there. So,
yeah, I agree. I think, whether it's a triathlon, a road race, or a trail race, if you have that goal and, when you finally accomplish that or complete it, I tell people all the time, you cannot explain the feeling that you feel when you've really completed some type of endurance event. It's for me, I think we chase a part of that, right? That feeling, because there's no other feeling that I feel in life other than, the large events that you have within your life. But it's almost more euphoric like that, because like you said, it's just you, whether you're doing a trail race, whether you're doing a 50K, 100 mile or half marathon, whether you're doing a triathlon, whatever it is, like you mentioned in the gym, when you work, there's no one else out there. It's you, it's your goal. And it's your mental fortitude getting you through that challenge. And I just think that catapults in other aspects of your life. And I just want to spread that to as many people out there as I can, I guess.
Yeah, I think it's your own personal vote of confidence, and especially when you get to 100 milers and you've spent 12 hours that night, tromping through the woods, and by yourself. Mm-hmm. A lot of times, maybe a pacer based up, but the feeling that I did that, and I know everybody wants somebody to pat them on the back, but really, when you get in the car and you're driving home, you're by yourself,
right?
And you can't help but smile and say, "Hey, I did that." So maybe it is their first 10K or their first half marathon or their first whatever. You see people smiling. People mm-hmm. aren't at the finish line going, "Boy, that was horrible." Well, they do for a few minutes, but then within the next 30 minutes, they're planning, they're talking to somebody about, let's go do so-and-so. I think I could have gone a little farther or whatever.
Yep.
We've all done it. So.
Yep. Absolutely.
I'll never do that again. And then 5 minutes later, you've already signed up for another race.
Absolutely. People ask me all the time, what goes through your head in those races? And I said, all of the feelings. Every single one of them, from this is great, I hate this, I'm never doing this again, why did I sign up for this, to getting across that finish line and feeling that sense of accomplishment. Absolutely amazing. So Joe, what are some of the goals you have for yourself set for this year?
Well, first off, getting this race thing off the ground. That's the big thing right now. I'm trying to knock out, I'm wanting to complete all my ultras again. Started at 50K. I got a 40 miler done. I got a 50K and a 40 miler done. I want to get a 50 miler, 100 miler, and 100K. I'm going to knock it out this year. It's going to take me a little bit longer than I had expected. That's mainly the goal. I'd like to get to, I don't think I'll make Salton Sea. I wanted to make Salton Sea with Badwater. I'd like to get out and do the Badwater. I did Cape Fear a couple of years ago. I'd like to get that. They've got a new 24-hour race at Cape Fear, which that was really a cool event that I'd like to get out there and try that.
Very cool.
But really the race is getting these things going and getting 20 good events done this year is the goal. So we get started real deep here in March and rock and roll from then on. So we'll see what happens.
That's pretty amazing. I just need everyone to understand Joe is 71 years old, and you just heard what some of his personal goals are, and he feels confident in with his training and where he is at within his life to even set those goals. I think that's the whole premise of this podcast. They some of the quotes you wrote on your questionnaire, Joe, I just want to kind of say on the podcast because I thought they were really moving. Self-improvement is a daily decision. Your limits are usually learned, not real. Self-belief is built through action. Those are pretty powerful statements. Pretty powerful.
I believe that, yeah. So let's go do it.
Let's go do it. Joe, I appreciate having you on today. Where can everyone find you? I believe you're on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at this point.
Yeah, well, yeah. And Joe, everfurther.net is our website, and the Next Loop Endurance Series is the race series. But everfurther.net is where the community thing we're building and everything, where they can see everybody and learn who are the best coaches around.
Awesome.
And where they can get some information. And Joe at everfurther.net, anybody has a question, anybody ever want or comment or knows a park they want us to come do a race in or any of that stuff, all they got to do is reach out to me because I'm having the time of my life with this thing. I had to wait until I was 72 to have a dream job. So now I've got a dream job, and doing all this is just is great. But yeah,
pretty amazing. Well, thank you, Joe. I appreciate having you on the podcast. Obviously, we're in touch all the time, so we'll be in touch soon. And looking forward to these races and everything you have going on.
Looking forward to getting you out there.
That's right. Thanks, Joe.
Take care.
Take care, man. All right, guys. So Joe Johnson, an amazing guest today, 72 years old, and he is still moving just as strong as most people I know. It's just a true testament to when you prioritize health, you prioritize goals, and you prioritize longevity, what you can do. Joe mentioned doing the research, listening to your body, having those goals set. These are the building blocks that we've talked about through all the podcasts so far. I'm gonna repeat these quotes because I think they were so moving. Self-improvement is a daily decision. Your limits are usually learned, not real. Self-belief is built through action. With that being said, guys, I thank you guys all for listening. Stay tuned for the next episode, and thank you for all your support.